COVID-19 pushes us towards what we are now calling the hybrid way of working, where the physical and the digital workplaces as well as workforces coexist, business models are undergoing tremendous shifts. And every enterprise is now looking for the perfectly aligned and integrated hybrid workplace model. But what exactly will define this next generation hybrid workplace? How will enterprises drive productivity and collaboration in a globally distributed remote workforce? What are some of the new approaches to enterprise security as cyber threats go on getting multiplied? And finally, how can enterprises increase their digital agility in a multi-cloud and hybrid environment? Those are some of the big questions we are aiming to answer here today. Hello and welcome to Cisco Presents the Digital Blueprint exclusively on CNBC TV 18. I'm Ritu Bhandari and I'm joined by a set of very eminent industry experts today. Let's welcome Shriji Gopinathan, Global CIO of Lupin, Gautam Datta, CIO of Bajaj Allianz Life Insurance, Abhijit Majumdar, CIO of TCS, Ramesh Munamurthy, Head of Strategy and Technology India and Global Head of Infrastructure and Operations at Cognizant, and Kunal Kaul, Managing Director of the Enterprise Business at Cisco India. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Digital Blueprint. Now, COVID-19 has, of course, transformed our lives like never before. Our workplaces and our workforces have been no exception. Hybrid or a combination of physical and digital is something that we've all been talking about for the last couple of months. Kunal, I want to begin this conversation by asking you, how has this shift to hybrid really impacted business, technology, as well as even talent models of organizations? And as an enabler of the ecosystem, what are some of the unique examples of digital transformation that you've seen, particularly over the last couple of months?
When we work with our customers and when we are trying to look at long-term hybrid working strategies, there are a few things that one has to keep in mind. I think firstly, the way applications are delivered and consumed to users, I think will have to be re-engineered. The infrastructure has to be transformed across the entire spectrum, from devices to network to campuses to branches and data centers. And I think the most important aspect is the human aspect, the cultural transformation that I think is also going to be very, very critical when one looks at long-term hybrid working strategy. And you know, there are some things that are going to be really different from what used to be the case earlier. For example, I think the way talent modeling is done. Earlier, organizations used to measure productivity on the basis of input parameters. How much time are you putting in? That's how timesheets were designed. Now in a hybrid working scenario, when people are working from home sometimes, from office sometimes, the line of demarcation between home and office is completely blurred. So that old way of measuring productivity will not work. And I think now organizations have started thinking about output-based models, which are more performance and outcome-oriented. In our platform, in Cisco WebEx, we introduced a new feature called People Insights, and I use that feature very, very extensively. And that gives me an insight about the kind of meetings that I'm having, the people that I'm meeting, inside my organization, outside my organization, how much time I'm spending with them, how much time I'm spending on doing my meetings every day or on a weekly basis. And that actually has helped me plan my day a lot better and hopefully, improve my work-life balance. Also, as we look at hybrid working frameworks, I think it will be very, very important for us to look at engaging the audience as effectively as we can. Just to give you an example, we made an acquisition of a company called Slido, which is also getting integrated with WebEx, which allows us to do crowdsourcing of questions, to launch live polls and quizzes, to take live feedback from participants. And I think those are the kind of things that make the meeting interesting, both for the host as well as for the participants.
I want to bring in Shriji at this point and talk about the pharma sector, because really the pharma sector has been at the heart of this whole pandemic. We've depended on healthcare, life sciences, pharma in a big, big way, particularly in the last year and a half. So Shriji, tell us, as far as your industry is concerned, how is digital agility really being accelerated across manufacturing floors, across supply chains, sales and distribution channels, and what are some of the big challenges that you're navigating today?
A digital transformation is not something where we can go and write down a detailed user requirement specification from top to bottom and then we go and spend another 6 months to look at how to create a system for that. It is an agile way of working that is needed to look at what needs to be done, whether it is about looking at the yield improvement of a manufacturing line, whether it is about predictive maintenance of our lines, or whether it is about engaging with the doctors and patients. And it could also be a agile supply chain which needs to quickly react to the demand changes that is happening outside in the market. All those areas are areas where we start, but then we learn as we go. And hence it is very, very important to have that flexibility where we are willing to be able to accept change, but then make things happen in a very agile manner using the technology and business collaboration.
All right, so from pharma, let me then shift gears and move to insurance. And Gautam, life insurance, of course, is a category that has seen tremendous demand during the pandemic. I'm sure your conversations with customers over digital mediums have really, soared through the roof. So what has that really meant for the back end? And while we are talking of modern workplaces, hybrid workplaces that need to drive collaboration, productivity, and intelligence in a very secure manner, how do you lay the technology foundations for that? And how would you lay the policy foundations for the future as well?
Many of us would be having some kind of infrastructure at our office, maybe provided by Cisco. And over the time, we all would have some software like a PaaS platform as a service, like MS Teams and stuff like that, we would be having. Now, we might have integrated it to make it a proper hybrid kind of a work method. But unless and until we define what are the silence hours, what at max you can reach out in the off days, if we do not think on those lines, what happens is 8 to 10 hours of work schedule suddenly becomes 12 to 14 hours of work schedule. That the software element of this proposition is very much important, and that would define how we actually deal with hybrid collaboration infrastructure in the future.
Ramesh, let me then come to you. As the whole remote workforce grows in size and it's globally distributed, how can this workforce really easily access enterprise tools, content, data from anywhere and on any device? Because every person is now getting connected to multiple devices, even for work, considering they're working from home or working from anywhere really. What are some of the best practices that enterprises can follow in this aspect?
It's important to be candid and use this opportunity to accelerate internal digital transformation and bringing up a stronger foundation. One of the things that we are doing, and I think larger enterprises should also do, is assess how the future of work will be and make sure that the workforce is productive in different scenarios, right? So people, if they're targeted primarily to work from home, they need to have some sort of a physical social interaction in addition to the regular virtual connects over lunch and coffee. I think all of us can agree that we have been Zoom fatigued, and there's a lot of mental health issues, and that has become a challenge in the work from home scenario. So I think managers should become more empathetic in the future of the work model, as we are essentially asking them to balance their work-life balance in an environment that was never designed to be conducive for work. So I think if people become more empathetic, create environments, leverage the technology, and accelerate digital transformation areas where they think they are not that strong in, I feel that enterprises will be able to leapfrog, take advantage of this distributed workforce. And what we have seen, and other enterprises will also see, that this would actually reduce costs and, if done well, can improve the productivity and improve the morale of our employees.
As we move forward, and we've all been talking about the softer human aspects of things, will technology then be a key enabler when it comes to aspects like diversity and inclusion or increased productivity, like a bunch of you have been talking, and perhaps equal growth opportunities for the workforce? There shouldn't be any difference whether you work from home or from office. How is technology going to ensure that the equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace really remains at the center?
In TCS, one of the things that we have started doing, and we are rolling it out across the organization as we speak, is start monitoring if people are working for more time, and then going and looking at those teams which are working for more time to understand why are they doing it, what is the challenge that they are trying to address, because of which they have to spend more time. We are looking at meetings where, more than 10, 12 people are joining because, if you have 40, 50 people in a meeting, it's not really a meeting. No decisions can be taken or no collaboration really can happen in such cases. So there are many such things that we are looking at to enable a better work environment when we are working from remote. But we are also doing the other thing, which is we are creating places in our offices and putting AI tools and others to ensure that the offices are first of all safe to come. So we have used one of our own products called Intelligent Urban Exchange to ensure, do contact tracing and understand if there is a risk for a team to come to office. Like we have Book My Show, we are creating a solution which you can call like Book My Seat, so that a team can book and come to office in a planned manner. And we are restructuring our office spaces so that the office space becomes much more collaborative, not just the physical structure of the office itself, but also using tools, electronic whiteboards and stuff like that, so that you can really have part of your team sitting at home and the rest sitting at office and collaborate effectively.
Fair enough. Okay, so let me also then ask you, Kunal, at Cisco, how are you envisioning the next generation hybrid workplace? You've heard, diverse views from your peers here.
When people start coming back to offices in a hybrid setup, I think one of the things that will happen is that the safety standards in offices, and I think a couple of speakers spoke about that, are going to be significantly higher than what used to be the case earlier. Our devices, for example, our video conferencing devices can detect the number of people that are there in a conference room, and if it is more than the designated number, as per the social distancing norms, it will throw up an alert and people will know that they need to disperse. But we are leveraging our wireless infrastructure to build digital maps, people density maps of people on a floor or a building or an entire campus. So that tomorrow, if somebody is detected positive, and it could be more than one person, you can instantly draw up a density map of where that person or those persons have been, and you can physically isolate only those spots, and the rest of the floor or the building or the campus can keep on functioning without any disruption. So those kind of things are becoming very, very critically important.
On that note, we are going to head into a very quick break right now, but the conversation continues right here on the other side. Stay with us on the Digital Blueprint on CNBC TV 18. Welcome back. You are watching Cisco Presents the Digital Blueprint on CNBC TV 18. And today we are talking about accelerating digital agility in enterprises. And in this segment, I want to focus a little bit on the security of the hybrid workplace, because that's a top concern as far as boardrooms are concerned. Shriji, if I may come to you first. In the post-pandemic world, social distancing, sanitization are things that are perhaps going to continue for some time to come. So in that sense, will physical offices now become very, very asset light? And as far as employee safety is concerned, are we looking at more and more contactless and wearable technologies? Kunal spoke about that earlier. And what will all of this change really mean for the cyber security strategies of an enterprise?
We have mechanisms where we make sure that people are coming in, has a safe place to sit, has a safe place to work. We have a good contact tracing mechanism. As much as possible, not as much as possible, I think we've pretty much everywhere taken out the biometric fingerprint access mechanisms and all. It's all card based, and other voice activated and all those kind of technologies are being used. But yeah, so the answer to your question is yes, it will be a lot more asset light, a lot more automated as much as possible in terms of touchless, and as much as social distanced, and also to make sure that there is a rota that people come in, so that there is only 25-30% of the crowd which will be allowed inside the office at any point in time. So all these things will continue. People awareness creation in terms of what they should do, what they should not do, what kind of precautions should they do when they get certain emails or even some messages that they may get on their personal devices, which they might be also using for work. All those has become ever so more important. And it is not just enough to train them and to make them aware, but also we need to have technology solutions. If at all something has made it through into our network, into the user machines, and if a user has taken an action which they're not supposed to take, then how do we detect that very, very quickly, and how do we take corrective action? Everything as far as the networks are concerned, the data centers are concerned, the LAN and the WAN and the routers and the switches and everything that we have in the network also needs to be monitored.
Gautam, the pandemic has really changed last mile connectivity, bandwidth requirements, VPN and access methods for insurance companies, and also, of course, really increased your digital interaction with consumers. So give us a sense of how you've strengthened cybersecurity over the last year in particular to keep pace with all of this tremendous change. And what is your next big cybersecurity priority, and what is going to be your pillar of strength for your long-range planning when it comes to security?
Our commitment towards threat hunting, our commitment towards advanced threat detection and response, which is typical the EDR, and at the central side, our ability to AI-powered, threat intelligence-driven mechanism, and to a great extent the critical sites should have some kind of deception technology to be able to avoid any of this incoming attack, has been very, very important and been actioned upon. Now, looking towards it in the future, we understand certain degree of hybrid collaboration, working from home or working from outside is here to stay. So all of these measures are our long-term plan, and we have already initiated because it is required to give a secure work environment when they're working outside the office.
Okay, let me then bring in Abhijit as well. Abhijit, TCS had pivoted last year to what it calls the secure borderless workspaces model. Give us a sense of what that's all about and how security has really been transformed. And given that, as you were saying, that no employee will be required to come into office for, say, more than about 1 day a week.
I think secure borderless workspace model is the new operating model of TCS, which we rapidly transformed into when the pandemic hit us last year. The model essentially enabled us to rapidly transform our 23,000 projects that we were doing for our customers. And what we have been able to do is enable about a few million meetings, a few million calls, a few hundred of millions of messages, and a few hundred of thousands of meetings over the last year within our associates and our customers, because that's the model that we work in. Our vision for SBWS is not going to be completely remote. It is what we call as 25 by 25, which means that for about 25% of our time, you will come to office. The rest of it, you can work from anywhere that you choose to.
Ramesh, let me come to you then. In this multi-cloud hybrid enterprise of the future that we are talking about, how should technology leaders build a very scalable next generation security framework, particularly in the Indian context? Any tips, any best practices that you can share?
What I have seen from a way by which enterprises can apply practices to secure their network would be, let's say in the current scenario where most of the employees are remote and they need access to apps or resources in the corporate network, organizations should administer what's known as the least privileged zero trust access for authenticated users. What this means in layman terms is that by default, you would not be allowed to access anything on the network, even though you're logged into it and authorized, unless specific access has been given to you for that particular data or that application. Another common scenario is users are needing access to the SaaS applications in the public cloud and the general internet access. In this particular case, leveraging technologies such as Cloud Access Security Broker and multi-factor authentication, a direct access is provided without having to route the request to the corporate network. So these are couple of technologies that would need to be leveraged in a more modern framework in this complex environment that we are in. And fortunately, there have been a lot of advances also made in AI and machine learning and automation that will help enterprises to become more proactive in identifying potential attacks to make the leap to the next gen security.
Kunal, if I may come to you, Ramesh did mention some of the challenges. Would you say that SASE is really the future of agile enterprises? What else would you add to the challenges in adoption, the key barriers to adoption? And, by when do you see adoption being really at a mass scale in the Indian context?
And SASE, as we all know, stands for Secure Access Service Edge. But in very simple terms, what it means is the convergence of network capabilities like SD-WAN and VPN, along with security capabilities like firewalls, like web proxy, like cloud access security brokers, like zero trust architectures. And all of this kind of works together using identity services as a currency. And all of this is done in a cloud native environment, and all of this is delivered in a cloud native fashion. So this is critically important when we are looking at providing a security cover to distributed users. As we are building hybrid working frameworks, as we are looking at a long-term strategy, as we are looking at agile and cloud-first models, SASE and cloud security is going to become a very, very important part, which will get embedded into these frameworks. And I think the ability to look at SASE cohesively, not just from a security perspective, but from an overall hybrid architecture perspective, is going to be one of the most important success factors.
All right. Well, lots of interesting ideas, perspectives there, and lots of milestones there for all of you to achieve. So thank you, gentlemen, and all the best for the future. Thank you for taking time and joining us here on the Digital Blueprint. That's a wrap for this edition. We'll be back next time with lots more. Goodbye and stay safe.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.